check, just refresh your page, then it will work. Just refresh your page, then it will work. Thank you everyone for joining and welcome into our today's session. So in our today's session, we are in week 4. For those who are wondering which week we are in week 4. That is file handling and exemption handling in Python. So this is what we are going to be covering: file handling and exemption handling in Python. So we are going to see what is file handling, and we are going to know what is exemption handling or error handling. So this is what we are going to cover today. So make sure that your VS Code is open for anyone who would like to follow along. For anyone who would like to follow along, make sure that your VS Code is open. Okay, so what is file handling in Python? What is file handling in Python? So before we go, what is file handling? What is the main objective for this today's session? So the main objective is to know how to work with files in Python. The main purpose of today is to know how to work with Python file handling, that is opening files, reading, writing, and closing files in Python. So that's the main objective for this lesson or for this topic. So what is file handling? File handling in Python is the ability to perform various operations on files. So file handling is the ability to perform various operations on files, like reading a file or reading data from a file or writing files. So files can be any like document, like a text document. An image is a file. A spreadsheet is a file as well. And a PDF also is a file, and any other form of a file that you know. So, of course, we know these files store data, like text documents store text and any kind of information or any kind of data. So these documents have data. So with that said, now we know what is document. And for today, we are going to know how to work with all those kind of documents or similar documents with Python, okay? With Python. So we are going to see file handling. So file handling in Python allows you to perform different things. Allows you to open files, of course, in different formats. You have so many reasons to open a file. That's what we are calling formats. That's what we are calling format. All these different things that you want to open a file for. You can open a file to read, or you can open a file to write on it. The same way that you can open a document to read or just to edit or write inside that document. So file handling in Python allows you to do all those kind of things. So I want us to, before that, so in Python, we have the inbuilt open function, this function here, the open function. So the open function is in the middle of everything, or is at the heart of or processes that we perform to files. For example, you can't read on a file without opening the file. You can't edit any file without first opening it. So you have to first open the file, so that you have to first open the file so that you can read on that particular file. So open function is in the middle of everything here. So any operation that you are going to perform to a file, you have to open it. You open using this open function in Python. Okay, so in file operations, we have now different ways in which we can open this file with. Of course, we have said we are going to use the open function to access these files or to open these files. So basically, this is the syntax for writing a file. How do you open a file? You open, then you open the file name, then you open in which mode you want your file to open that particular file. So we have different modes in which you can open these files with. We have the read, we have the write, we have the append, we have the read binary, or we have the write binary. So what are these modes? Modes are ways in which you can open the file and the operations that you want to perform to that file. Do you only want to open the file so that you can read on it, or you can read that file? Use the R as the read mode. R means read mode, the read. W means writing on this file. So writing on this file can be, we have an existing file that you want to write on it, an empty file that we want to write a document on it, or we want to also create our own file. This file does not exist anywhere, so we have to write, or we have to create a file. Maybe we have a file that is empty, we want to write on it, or we have a file that we want as content that we also want to add some more content on that file. So the write mode is used to create new files or to overwrite an existing file. So basically that's what we are going to be doing today. Okay, so we have the append mode. The append mode adds new content into without deleting existing data. So what do we mean by here? The append means like edit. For example, you have a file that only contains your name, your age. We don't want to overwrite that file. We have to use the append or the append mode, so that we can add more items into that list without having to alter any detail in that particular file. So that's what we do. And we said these files can be a text document, a PDF, a docs, a Word document, all those kind of documents. Images are documents, videos are documents. So all these textual format documents, we perform them with read, write, and append. But for images, the images we use binary. We know we can't just read an image. You can't just read an image and say, this image is this and this. An image is just a graphic, and a graphic is stored in terms of binary or in a form of a binary. So we have to read binary. So read binary means read or write binary, write something like images. So as you can see, the read binary basically is almost the same. The read, of course, we know what is read. Then after we read that image, we want to read the binary code of that particular image, or we want to overwrite on the binary with the WB for write. So I just want us to check some basic example here and see how we operate with files. For those who are saying the LMS is not working, it has been fixed. It's working now. It has been fixed. It has been fixed. It's working now. You can just refresh. You can just go to the LMS and refresh. Just go to the LMS and refresh any content. I think also now, for those who had the problem in submitting the assignment, they can basically work on that now. It's working. It's working. Okay, so I want us to write some few codes. Where is it? No. Oops. Okay, here you have it. So here we just declare a variable, and in this variable we use the open function, in which the open function reads a file. Okay, reads a file. So I just want us to write the code so that we understand how to work with a single file. Okay, okay. So we can create a variable in which we call it a file, and we can use the open function. Okay, the open function. So inside here, we use the open function to open a single file, right? So after you open a single file, we pass the parameters, like the first parameter will be the file name that we want to open. Then over here, comma, we have to open, or we have to specify the mode in which we want to open our file in. The first mode that we want to open is the read mode. Okay, is the read mode. We just want to access a file, then read the content of that file. A file can be anything, document, PDF, anything. So for that case, we created the sample with example.txt. We have example.txt file that we have over here. So in this example.txt, we have added some few lines of text here inside our file. This is just example.txt. So we want to open this file inside this piece of code. So over here, now we can specify example.txt. The name of the file is example.txt. Now, of course, we can print the content inside that file. So I want us to try something here. I want us to try something before we add any needed piece of code. Okay, so let me just clear here and show you something. I just want to show you something. So from our expectations, from our normal expectations, let me write in this code. We expect to open this file, read, then print the file, then show the output. Okay, That's what we expect from us. But remember, this is the mode. The mode can be right, the mode can be whatever mode. But we have to take it a step further. Then take the file dot read. So we take the file over here dot read. Read now is, you want now to, yes, you have specified the mode, but now you want to read the content inside that document. So this one here is the mode. This one now is the action that you want to do, and the action is basically read the document. So we save, then we run our code. You can see it's encoded, blah blah blah. Why do we have this issue? Okay. I can just change this variable to data, then change this to data. Save and run. Yeah, there you go. So what I've done here is declared a variable, and in this variable we open the file. Then anything that we open, we create a new variable, now assign this file that we just opened right here, like take the file dot read, just like that. Then you print out the read document, the document that we just read. So this is how you access a file. And you guys have a question. Yes, after reading the document, in real life scenario, what can I do with this functionality? In real world scenario, how can I do um, with this functionality? It's very simple. You can create, you see, in website where now you have to upload an image, you have to upload a document, you have to upload a CV. Basically, you can do that. You can do that. Now depends with the operation that you want to do. Do you just want to upload the file and leave it there? Or do you want to upload the file and read the content of that file? Or what do you want to specifically do with the file? So that determines on what you want to do with the file. So that's the um, that's the process or the real world scenario for that's a real world scenario for working with documents. So that's how you work around files. So basically, you can work around just like that. Someone is saying no such file or directory, no such file or directory. So first, confirm if you have this example.txt or you have the file that you want to open. So someone is asking, how do you open a PDF or any other kind of a document? So I want us to try. I just want to, let me see if, okay. I want to open a document. Let me just transfer a random document. Let me see the format for this document. We go to VS Code. You have this, it's called JavaScript basics.pdf. So let's try opening this file, JavaScript basics.pdf. Let me confirm the spellings, JavaScript basics.pdf, save, run. It's called input serve errors. Let's see, Unicode decode error. We are going to fix that. So you see, this is one of the problems that come with opening these files. Okay, by the end of the session we are going to take this further and try to fix these kind of errors. Okay, to work around fixing these kind of errors. Okay, so before you go to this, I want to show you, let's say for example you are trying to do this, you are trying to open this kind of files, or you are working on your own time, but you don't have the time to Google, you don't have the time to waste on maybe a simple thing that seems to be simple like this, that seems to be having a simple solution. So you can use Copilot, to work around with your files. So how do we go about that? If you have a Copilot installed, just toggle this Copilot right here, and over here you can now prompt is just like the prompt chat GPT, and see how you can play around with these files. So for example, this code has an error. I'm getting an error when trying to open a .pdf file. Fix this code on how to access PDF files. Then I can just prompt it. Depends on how good you are in prompting these documents. So if I'm satisfied with this code, I'm just going to click accept in week 4. Then there we go. I'm going to keep the changes. Then I'm going to accept all these kind of solutions. So what it did basically here, we installed the PyPDF tool. That one will help you in opening your PDF. So of course here, now we can change our code to work like this. We can just basically change our code to work like this. Let me just edit my code. So this so this one should work in case you have this module installed. So I'm just going to install pip install let me quickly change to this clear. Pip install this module that will help me PyPDF2, that will help me install these PDF open libraries. So clear, let me make sure that I'm in the correct folder. Let me run my code and see. There we go. You see, it actually can read the content inside my PDF. My PDF says it has a content code certificate, and it has successfully completed intermediate JavaScript course of completion, blah, 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 all those kind of contents inside my PDF. So if we try to open our PDF in a normal way, we can see our PDF as that content. Certificate of completion, this is to acknowledge and honor, blah, 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 as successfully completed, blah, blah, blah. And the text, because this is a text, of course, this is not a text, this is not a text. Then the verification code, this one is a text. You see, it has read the content of this PDF. So everything you see here, of course, this is a logo. This is one is not a text. So it will read the content inside this PDF, then it will open the PDF for us, the PDF content for us. So if you wanted to open a PDF, this is how you could have done it. You install the Python PDF2 library that will help you open this PDF. But as you can see, we changed from our basic read, because this is not a normal text document, to read the binary, read binary of this PDF. So that's how you could have done it. So basically this code, of course, we did loops. So for page, in this reader that we just defined here, extract the text and print out the text of that particular PDF. So that's how you play around with PDFs and opening files with Python. Yes, I said binary for images. I said binary for images. So binary for images because depends. So you have to understand your document really well. If it's a normal text, a Word document, a document is just normal text. That's when we read. But if you know it's not a normal document like a PDF, like an image, like a video, it has been stored in form of a binary. So you read binary, So that's how we go around printing files in Python. Excel too. So you want to open Excel. So we are here. Let's try Excel. So I have an Excel sheet. Let me find a simple Excel with a simple name. Go to desktop, PLP codes, week 4. Then I'm going to paste that. This one is in a form of Excel. So let's try to open that file and see what content we are getting. So I'm going to comment this code. Then I'm going to write another code to open this binary. Not binary, but this Excel. Say the data inside the file.read. Then I'm going to print the data. So this one, I'm going to change this to read. Then I'm going to change this to the content of this particular file. So this file, it's called, is it prog skill newsletter dot csv. CSV. I think it's correct. Let me run my code and see. Wow, there we go. There we go. You can see it has printed out all the documents or the text inside that CSV. As you can see, a CSV is a normal file with normal data, a normal data that is in form of a text. So if we open a file like this, then it will read the content of that particular file. Just as simple as that. Change the certificate of participation in PLP to certificate of completion. Someone is asking for that. So just for clarification, in PLP, we have we have two different certificates. For those who go all the way to the end and complete and submit their final project on time, everything is correct, their project is all good, not good, but it's a good project in general, in quotation marks, in quotes. If the project is there, then that's when we give certificate of completion. But if maybe someone went through the LMS, did not submit their final project, but they have done at least let's say what, not say bad, 80% of the content in the LMS, not in one module, but in the specialized or in the said specialized module. If they are done 80%, that's when they get certificate of participation. But if you have not even hit 50%, you are not going to get any certificate. So what is the purpose of this? What is the essence of Python reading PDF files? Now, remember, everything that we do it progressively for the future. So for people like me, who are into data analysis, this is what we do on daily basis. Let's say you are creating a program that maybe your company has sent you some piece of data. Okay, some piece of data. Now you download the data in a form of document, of course, the same way that we have done this. This is a CSV. This is a normal data. I want to analyze it. So first, of course, I have to open the file so that I can load the file into my system. Once I load the file, now I can read, I can do whatever activities to do with data analysis, blah, blah, blah. Then I can print or I can download that particular data once it's done with all the operations that I need done. So this is the main purpose for this. It's one example of how you can use this opening files with Python, blah, blah. And I hope that example has made sense. Is it possible to write a content in CSV? Yeah, definitely possible. That's the next step that we are going to do. Yeah, the purpose of reading files also aids the visually impaired. Yeah, you are still getting the error, James Courier. You're still getting the error opening your file. So I just want to clear that error. That error you are getting, James. Take it easy. Take it easy. It's simple. It's simple. So if you are trying to run this code, for example, if you are trying to run this code, then you get an error. Clear. Then you get an error. For example, I'm not going to show any error. So make sure, let me just create a random error like this. Now, once I run this code, for example, I'm going to see file not found, blah, 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 blah. Maybe a similar error from what you are facing, okay? So if I'm running this code I expect it to run in the terminal, okay? So I expect some output. But when you check my machine, this is the path. So it's trying to run a file that does not exist. The file, yes, exists, we know it exists, but the path is wrong. You see, we have Python sessions. When you go to my files, so when you go to my files, these are Python sessions. In Python sessions, do you see any file similar to what you are trying to run? No, it's not there in that path. So it's inside week 4. So that means your path is wrong. Just go make sure that you are inside the correct path. So the correct path for me is week 4. So as you can see, now I'm in the correct path. I'm in the correct path. Okay. Now once I'm in the correct path and I try to run my code, there we go. 0 errors. Then I have whatever I expected as the output. So it's as simple as that. It's not a big deal. It's not a big problem. It's just a small problem like that. You can make it. You can make it. You can have this. Yeah, it's very simple. It's very simple. Someone is asking, how did I add the PDF? The PDF, of course, it's very, I just copied a random PDF, you see. Just went to my files, copied the random PDF. Let's assume that I just copied the random PDF. Then that PDF, I made sure it's inside. I just had to paste that PDF here. No need to create a PDF for now. We just opened a PDF. Just opened a PDF that existed. Can you create a CSV file in VS Code and still open it? Yeah, that's the next step. I put a PDF of my ID, it does not bring back anything. Your ID seems to be fully text, no, not text, but fully binary. It's not interpreting anything. So if you just put a PDF of your certificate, that means it's a PDF that has been saved in a form of an image. So someone is asking, what is this venv? So we have someone, Sophia, you have pasted the problem here, file.xlx find read file data print. So the error that you are getting is a traceback error. Module blah 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 codec champ. Okay, it's like the formatting of your file. We are going to try that kind of a file together with you. So that's how you basically open files in Python. So I want us to go to the next operation or the next mode, that is writing or appending a file or appending text or content inside a file that you just created. Okay, opening a file and appending content for that file you just created. So how do you write a file in Python? Writing a file in Python is very simple. You just use the write function. So the write function basically writes or appends text inside an existing document or creates a new document. So I just want us to go straight to writing the code so that we get the understanding for this. So let me just create a new file here and say write file.py. Let's say that I want to create a file in Python just like this. Okay, create a file. So what I can do, I can say file is equal to open. Of course, we said open is constant. So open, we can't write a file without opening it. We can't write on a book without opening it. That's clear. So here, we want to create a random file dot, let's just create a simple um, um, txt. Then you are going to play around with the txt, change it to pdf once we try to write this text document. So because we are going to write a file, we are going to use the w, that is the write mode. Okay, we open a file, but we open a file in write mode. Okay, you open a file in write mode. We want to open a file in write mode. So how do we open a file in write mode? So we want to create a file, then in write mode. Okay, so I can use data is equals to file dot write. Okay, then I can just write a random text inside that particular file. Okay, so so what I'm trying to do here is I need to create a file. Of course, I need to open a file called randomfile.txt and open it in write mode. Then the data of that file will be, take the file that we just created and write what? Write this is a test file, or any random text that you want to do right here. Of course, we can try to see the output of that particular file. We can see the data for that particular file. Okay, cool. So I want you to see here in my list of files. This is example, this is JavaScript basics, open file, output.txt, newsletter, try exempt, file, try finally, write file. But we don't have a file called random file.txt. We don't have that file. Okay, so once I run this code, you'll see automatically a new file called random.txt file will be created right here. So once I run the code, there we go, the random file has been created right here. Random file.txt has been created right here. Random file.txt has been created right here. So let me just move this inside here so that it's in week 4. So we have this random file that has been created right there. So we can add more content inside this file. I can say comma, this is a test file. So we have this a test file, this is a test file. In our random file, we only have this. So once I run my code, I can see we have, this is a test file, this is a text file that has been written right here. So I think this is running in the wrong path. So let me fix the path. Let me delete this existing file. And I want us to work with this random file.txt. So once I run this code again, it has gone to the random file, then appended that new text inside that particular file, just like that. So it has created that particular file for us. So that's how you basically write new files. Someone told us to try pdf.pdf. Can we create a PDF? No, we can try with the CSV so that we come to the pdf.csv, run my code. There we go, random file.csv has been created. We just change the name, the extension, the file extension. So we can play around with this .pdf, save, run. There we go, random file.pdf has been created for us. So basically that's how simple it is creating files with Python. So that's how simple it is. It's as simple as it looks. What does the number in the output mean? Basically this number in the output means the characters inside the file. The number of characters inside the file that we created. Okay, someone is asking, can you create a file you created, then add in a break line after the text? Of course, you can add a break line. To add a break line is as simple as, let's say we wanted to print this is the file, then this is a file in two different lines. So basically what you do is just like that. Forward is this forward slash or backslash, then n. So save, run my code. This is the PDF, and you can see this is a text and this is a text inside, just in a new line. It's as simple as just adding slash n for new line. Just as simple as that. As simple as appending that text inside a new document. Can you read a docs document using Python? A docs. Let me see if I can have, if I have a docs. A docs. I'm not sure if I have a docs. Unfortunately, I don't have any docs. All these are PDFs. I don't have any docs. You have these. I don't want to open this. Has some sensitive information. No, I don't want to open this. All these documents, they have sensitive information, so I don't want to open all these documents, these docs. But it's possible, it's possible. Let me just open this. Yeah, I can open this, I can open this. So let me just copy, then take it to where? Take it to PLP codes, week 4, paste it here. Let me just rename it to make it shorter. Automata, to make the document shorter. So go to the code. I want to open a file. This one was a CSV. I just want to open this. This was automata dot, what is the file extension? Docs. Automata automata.docs. Yeah, let me see. Boom, 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 boom. Unicode charm character code cannot decode the byte. Yeah, that's where now you see an example like this is the one now we have to fix with extra libraries. To fix this with the extra libraries, you can just open your, what do we call it, your copilot, and say in this code uh, instead I can just open, let me just copy the previous prompt and change this to docs. Docs. Let us see the suggestion. Yeah, you have to open, you have to add an extra library for opening docs, and that is the Python docs library. You can just add the Python docs library like that, and then you open the docs as simple as this piece of code here. You can ask your copilot so that it can show you these kind of things. If you are facing any problem, then copilot should be your daily friend. Your copilot should be your daily friend. How do you open Copilot in VS Code? If you have installed Copilot, it's an extension. It's simple. Just go to your far right, top right. You have your X or your close. You have your next button. You have the minimize button. Then this button here, you see it from these square buttons here. Just check the one that works. This one is the toggle secondary sidebar. Of course, this one will open the GPT, the chat, the Copilot chat. We'll open the Copilot chat. This one, the first one, depends with you. As just you can play around with these buttons to see what they do. So this one definitely is the one that is going to open the chat, the Copilot chat. Okay, with that said, let's go to the next topic. Where is it? The next topic is, actually we are done with this first topic, that is file handling with Python. So you can check more, you can play around with more examples on how to work with you can check more examples on how to work with files in Python. So the next one will be exemption handling in Python. Okay. Your VS Code is not responding might be the problem with your machine. That might be a problem with your machine. Okay, we can continue. We can continue to the last topic. The last topic is the shortest topic. So the next topic is exemption handling with Python. Exemption handling with Python. So what is exemption handling? Normally, we face errors. An example of an error that we just faced, where when we are trying, for example, let me just run this piece of code. You remember this is a docs. Now, you see, we are getting this error. You see, we are getting this kind of error. Unicode decode error. If you are a normal person who knows nothing about programming, who can't fix anything to do with programming, normal person who knows nothing, who can't tell code as errors, you get this kind of error, then what's next? You just panic and give up. But as a programmer, you already understand this. But we are building this kind of software for non-programmers. Okay? So that's where error handling comes in handy. So to make your code that, or to make your programs to be error-proof or user-friendly, we use exemption handling or error handling techniques to handle those errors and maybe return the client a meaningful error. Okay? Okay. So basically, our basic structure, we have the try exempt block that we use for exemption handling in Python. So we can use the try and the exempt block to catch these kind of errors in Python. So how do we go about it? We wrap the code that we just wrote inside the try exempt block. You can take that a scenario, not a scenario, but a context of the conditional statements that we did last time, if else. We use the try as the if statement. Run code that might throw an error or success. We did anything inside the if block, we are either expecting it to have a success or to fail. But what if it succeeds? It gives you the expected output, right? What if it fails? It forwards to the else. If else, the else prints out the other expected outcome because the condition has not been met. In that context, take that context and transfer it to the try exempt blocks. The try runs the code that we expect a positive or negative output. If we have a positive output, we get our results. What if we don't get the expected output, that is the exempt? Now, it catches the exact error message or the exact error, then that can return to the client or to the user a meaningful statement. I think that's clear. So I want us to write this code, then see how it works. So let me do this. B, we no longer need this, we no longer need this, we no longer need this, we no longer need this. So I will try exempt. Try exempt. So let me comment this piece of code and write a fresh code. We can write a fresh code. You remember that we wrote if a condition, then else the output. Do you remember that? Exactly. So if you remember that, then it's the same case. Try block print something like hello world, except if you have an error, you print an error occurred. So this is this exact same format. We try this. If it is success, print hello world. If we have an error, do that. Show the error. That's simple. Correct. Now, remember that we are working with file. So we can play around with this code to work with our files. So what I'll do, I'll create a file and try to open a file. It's the same code. File, open a simple file, just like that. Then do that. Then print the data of that particular file. I can just print the data is something like this. That's simple. It is as simple as it looks. It is as simple as this. Okay. What if, let's say, we have an error message like file not found, except, so it will print out this output if this file exists. What if exempt file not found error, file not found error. If the file is not found, we can say this file does not exist. We can just leave a meaningful message. Sorry, this file does not exist. This file does not exist. I want us to run this code and see if it's a success or a fail. You see, it has printed out this document because the file exists. Because the file exists. What if this file does not exist? Let's say, yes, we know this file exists. Why do we say this file exists? Because we have this file here. Example.txt file. This file exists. What if it's a file that does not exist? Let me just edit that name file. Just a random name of a file that does not exist. I run my code and say, sorry, this file does not exist. You see, this is a meaningful error message that anyone would like to see or would understand once they see this error message. So basically, that's what this try exempt block does. You see all these other code that we have done, opening files, trying everything, opening PDFs, docs. Now imagine it's only this piece of code that we have wrapped with this try exempt. Nothing new. We just wrapped the code inside this try exempt block. So it's as simple as that. Now you remember the errors that we are getting here? We can no longer have these errors. Now we can get them. For example, now I can open this file, let's say the automata.docs. Remember this file? Automata.docs. Read, try to read this data, then run my code and say Unicode error, and say Unicode decode error. So I can replace this file not found with the Unicode decode error and try to load and run my code. I can see file does not exist, or because this file does not match, you can just edit and say this is a wrong format. So something as simple as this. You can run this. Sorry, this is a wrong format. Now depends with how good you are in writing these error messages. For example, you see this makes more sense. This error message makes more sense as compared to this unicorn decode error. So in case you are wondering what kind of error is this unicorn decode Unicode decode error. So basically that's how you can wrap around, you can play around with this file handling in Python. So that means you are trying to run this file and we had an error. Maybe this is the wrong way to read a file, to read a docs. Then we get an error message that has been here for us to use. Is as simple as it looks. So when the VS Code terminal gives errors, it's Python. Yeah, of course. Now when this VS Code gives you errors, it gives you an hint. What kind of error is that? Is it a syntax error? Is it a machine error? Is it a network error? All those kind of errors, it gives you hints on how to work around the errors. So it just gives you hints on how to fix those kind of errors. What happens when you open a read file using the write command and vice versa? What happens if, let me check the scenario. What happens, wait. What happens if, no. I'm trying to get the exact text. What happens when you open a read file using the write command and vice versa? So this is read, right? We change this to write. What happens? So let's just avoid this and use the file that we know it's working, example.txt. Then what happens if we try to do that? Boom, there we get the type error. It gives us a type error, and this type error says it only takes one argument and it was given 0. So we are trying to reverse this, in which does not work. Remember, in the right we have to add some text. Let's say we add that, and it says unsupported operations not readable. Unsupported operation not readable, because remember we opened our file and we specified this is a read, but here we are writing. So it's not compatible. You can't read and write unless you write and write. So if we write and write, the data is that we have written and written. It's as simple as that. We can't use the two mixed. We have to, if it's read, it's read. If it's write, it's write. So I think that has given a clear answer of what happens. I have a question regarding now. The points are awarded because no way someone has a 20 million. No, no, you can share the screenshot. I think that was fixed. No one has 20 million points now. I think that was fixed. Could you provide the recording for the three? Yeah, you are going to share the recording. So basically, that's it for the file handling. So one more step. Is it one more step? Final. It's just writing one, actually two lines of code, and we are done with our today's session. So advanced error handling. We can add the finally block. So let me explain what the finally block does. Finally runs no matter what. So the finally blocks runs no matter what. You remember in Python when we were doing the if, a leaf, then else. Remember this kind of format? This is the wrong one, the wrong syntax, but you remember this format: if, a leaf, else. So the else block, if the first condition is evaluated and it's true, it runs. If it fails, checks the next. If all this fails, then we have this else block that will be printed out here. But for this, we can add, after this, we can add the finally block. The finally block will run no matter what happens. If this goes to success, it will print the data, then show the output. This is finally block. If this one that fails, it will run this, print out, then also print out this finally. In real world, where can you use this one? You have seen systems such that maybe you are trying to do some operation. Let me use our own Safaricom. Either you sent money or your local mobile transactions. You sent money, then you get, yes, the money is there, you have sent the money. The money is sent. No matter what, they will say, thank you for using Safaricom, for example. Maybe you send this money fails. They'll tell you have insufficient balance, but thank you for using Safaricom. You see, that is constant. No matter what happens, you have to get the thank you for using our service. Something like that. So this is the same scenario. No matter what happens, this must be printed out. So no matter what happens, this will be printed out. Let's see. Sorry, this is the wrong format. No matter what happens, this is the finally block has been printed out. Thank you for using our service. Basically, the finally block, that's what it does. It's as simple as it looks. Nothing is harder when it comes to Python and file handling in Python. So the issue with the people having million plus points is still there? No. I don't think so. You can just share the screenshot. You guys can share the screenshot. Will be nice. It will be nice. Or someone can just text me on WhatsApp. 254. Let me just share my numbers. You can text me the screenshot in case you are seeing that particular error. In case you see that error, so someone is asking, Chris Wamboy, in Python, are you supposed to create your own repo and upload it there? Yeah. In Python, you are supposed to create your own repo, then upload your assignments there, and then just submit the repo to us. Just submit the repo to us. Create your own repo for the assignment, then submit it to us. That will be